A rush of showers coming in. We've got a band of cloud and rain as well, which is moving its way from the northwest across to the southeast. So wherever you're waking up this morning, it's a windy start to the day. It's fairly mild. We are seeing some clear skies around Northern Ireland, southern parts of Scotland, down towards eastern areas of Scotland. But this massive cloud is producing outbreaks of rain. The rain is moving across to Wales as well as the Midlands, eventually reaching East Anglia and the southeast, where you haven't seen rain for probably 2 weeks. So it's going to be a bit of a shock to the system. The winds are strong wherever you are, so by lunchtime it's a blustery day, and then through the afternoon more showers on the cards, particularly I'd say for Scotland and Northern Ireland. By then the rain would have cleared in northwest Wales as well as northern counties of England, hovering around central southern England, East Anglia as well as the southeast. Perhaps see some brighter skies across the North Midlands as well as northern England, southern parts of Scotland also, but then more rain comes in as bands of showers, prolonged spells coming across from the northwest, and that means for Northern Ireland you're likely to see some showers as we head through this afternoon. At least though temperatures will be on the mild side. The winds continue right the way through the afternoon into the evening, and this is the picture this evening. If you're heading out or you're going back from work, remember your umbrella, because in fact many areas are likely to see showers or longer spells of rain right the way through the period. I think the driest part will be probably, I'd say, the Midlands as well as central and northern areas of Wales, but down towards the southeast it's all pretty nasty weather, and much better down the cards tomorrow. For your local 5-day weather update, visit our website, gm.tv.
By the way, apologies if you are trying to use our website this morning. It is down and we are aware of it. It's being dealt with and it should be up and running very soon. Right now the time is 6:31. It's Monday the 20th of October. You're watching the News Hour on GMTV.
Still to come this morning, breaking our addiction to oil. Could we cope as a country if supplies ran out tomorrow? We've got a special report from GMTV's Claire Nazir.
And the bold plan on housing is the government about to buy thousands of unsold homes from developers to ease the slowdown in the building trade and flood the market with new rentals. We'll be talking to the Chief Secretary of the Treasury, Yvette Cooper, in about 10 minutes' time.
And will the economic downturn lead to a wave of shoplifting in the high street? You can find out in 20 minutes. But first, government plans to give more parents the right to work flexible hours could be delayed because of the economic downturn. It's reported that proposals to extend paid maternity leave might also be postponed as ministers try to ease the pressure on companies. Well, Jonathan Swain's at Westminster for us this morning. Jonathan.
Morning, Priya. Will help for hard-pressed families. That's a sentence we've heard a lot from the lips of Gordon Brown recently, but is it just lip service? Because measures to help working families are apparently going to be put on hold, because from next April, parents with children under the age of 16, currently the law is children under the age of 6, could have applied for flexible working hours. Well, that's now likely to be put on hold. Another unpopular move that's likely to be announced, particularly for mums-to-be, is postponing the extension of maternity pay from the current 39 weeks to 52 weeks. And something else that's going to affect us all is an extra bank holiday. Plans for that, according to Gordon Brown and reports this morning, are likely to be put on hold as well. Well, the killjoy behind all of these measures is the newly appointed Lord Mandleton. He says that introducing such niceties like this would actually cost businesses in the UK too much money, and the focus for him at the moment, his department, is to restart the UK economy. Well, politically the focus is very much on the current financial situation. Today David Cameron, the Tory leader, will meet with small businesses, and he wants small businesses with 4 workers or fewer to receive a 1p cut in national insurance. They employ some 30 million people in the UK and are the lifeblood, according to the Tory leader, of the UK economy. Well, later on this week, officially we're going to be told that the UK economy is in recession, and no one likes to talk about Christmas in the middle of October, but because we're all feeling the pinch, Priya, apparently Christmas sales are going to be the worst for some 30 years.
Oh dear, thanks Jonathan.
Let's catch up on the rest of the news. Here's Marcella.
Thanks, John. Good morning. The government is reported to be planning to buy thousands of newly built homes from developers who've been unable to sell them. They'll be rented to people waiting for a council house. The move comes as the housing market continues to struggle. The Council of Mortgage Lenders is predicting a big rise in repossessions. Cordelia Kretschmar is at an estate agent's in West London. Morning, Cordelia.
Morning. Looking at any estate agent's window right now and you'll see the problem. Lots of unsold property, with new build developments selling worst of all. Well, now the government plans to buy thousands of these unsold new builds, spending £13 million in the first phase of this scheme on around 335 properties in London. That'll be followed by millions more to buy homes around the country. The idea is all of these homes will then be rented to people waiting for council housing. And Vince Cable, the Lib Dems Treasury spokesman, says actually it's quite a clever idea.
You solve several problems at the same time. You provide homes for people who need it, you provide jobs in the building industry, and you help head off more bad loans for the banks. So it's a very good idea. I'm glad the government have got round to it.
Meanwhile, this morning the government is also trying to tackle the other big dirty word around at the moment, repossessions. The Treasury Minister, Yvette Cooper, is telling banks and building societies they've got to cut the number of homes they are repossessing immediately. She's looking at new rules, new laws to try and force repossessions to become the measure of last resort. Today, though, no new government action on the other thing we're all worried about, negative equity. New figures show 60,000 of us are entering it every month. That means the mess we've got ourselves into this time on that measure is shaping up to be much worse than the crash of the 1990s.
Thanks, Cordelia. The dangers of drinking too much at home are highlighted in a new campaign launched today. The charity Drink Aware says many of us are already worried about the amount of alcohol we get through, as Nick Dixon reports.
A recycling bin full of bottles could well be a sign that alcohol is damaging your health. The warning comes from the charity Drink Aware. Their survey found Britons drink at home more often than they now do in pubs, bars and restaurants, nearly twice a week at home. The research also found that many of us are worrying about the amount of alcohol we drink. 1 in 6 people are concerned after looking at the number of bottles being recycled.
And when you are at home, it can be quite easy to lose track of just how much you've had until perhaps you take a closer look at the recycle bin.
The government's recommended drinking guidelines are 2 to 3 units a day for women and 3 to 4 for men. But the charity says few of us actually understand what those limits mean. The dangers of drinking too much at home are highlighted in a new campaign launched today.
Police have been given more time to question the father of 19-year-old Victoria Couchman, whose remains were found in Woodland in Hastings. Parts of a skeleton were uncovered by a forensic team after children found a human skull. Her father has been arrested on suspicion of murder. Scouts are to be given sexual health and relationship advice for the first time. New guidance from the Scouting Association, aimed at 14 to 18-year-olds, advises leaders to discuss contraception. Scout groups will also be able to organise trips to sexual health clinics. It's 6:37. Back to John and Priya.
Thanks very much, Dee. Some breaking news for you. Morrison's, the supermarket chain, have just announced that they're going to drop the price of their unleaded petrol to 97.9 pence per litre. That's 2p down on the previous price, and diesel will be at 109.9. Well, we're constantly being told about how the price of oil affects our daily lives, but without it, we'd have no cars, no planes, and most of our items in our home would stop working. But are we prepared for the day when oil runs out?
Well, all this week, Claire Nazir will be looking at fuelling our future. And today, she's looking at that very precious resource, oil.
Without oil, there'd be no cars, no shipping and no planes. So are we prepared for the day oil runs out?
We can't squeeze much more out of the North Sea, and we rely on a pipeline from Europe for extra supply. But that is vulnerable to political or terrorist threat. On our own, we just have 90 days reserve. Globally, oil is mined in these specific areas, and it's the situation in these countries that affects our pockets. As world demand for oil continues to rise, production cannot keep up, thus failing to meet our demand.
And as these figures show, it will not only affect the oil industry, but every single person living in this country.
Oil forms the basis of not only fuel, but many materials that make up products in our homes. If our oil supply depleted, pumps running dry would be just one of many problems.
Behind me is the Stanlow refinery. The crude oil is refined to produce the basis of our fuel, including petrochemicals, which forms materials such as plastics, detergents, polyester and nylon.
There are 9 of these around the UK, and each refinery needs to adapt now to evolving trends in oil product demand. In June, we saw the effect a 4-day strike had here at Stanlow, where local filling stations began to run out of fuel almost immediately.
Experts here at the University of Liverpool have been studying the effects of oil depletion.
Well, quite clearly one of the earliest impacts will be such things as transport and especially energy. One of my concerns here is fuel poverty and obviously those who will be impacted the worst, the most vulnerable, the elderly and the poor. but it will also impact different communities in different ways as well. The rural communities will probably feel quite a heavy impact, if not already. And not just transportation costs and energy costs, but a whole wide variety of products will be affected. If you went into your house and removed everything that had anything to do with oil in it, there wouldn't be a lot left.
Well, Claire joins me now. It's a staggering prospect. I mean, do we really face the prospect of having no oil at all?
Yes, we do. I mean, most experts are agreeing now that we've got about 40 years of reserves left. Now, you'll be drawing your pension by then, and so will I, probably, and probably your son Nick will be.
Yeah.
And I think it's the people who are maybe at the end of life, those who are not earning a lot of money are going to feel it more than anyone else. Because obviously, even in the next 20 years, the price of oil is going to go up. It's going to become more and more of a scarce commodity. And obviously tensions between countries are going to be heightened as we're battling, we're competing for that extra bit of oil.
And could we cope with that? I mean, the prospect, or the picture drawn by your expert there is a pretty gloomy one, isn't it?
Well, I would try and live without oil just for one day. It's virtually impossible. How do you get to work? You know, your food supply will be cut off because most of the food that we eat is not grown locally. Just heading off on holiday for just, you know, one or twice a year. I mean, I've just come back from Spain. So easy to get across to Europe, but it won't be in 20 years' time.
There are alternatives, and we'll be dealing with that in a special series this week.
Yes, I mean, tomorrow I'm dealing with the issue of biofuels. Some countries are trying to become self-sufficient, so they're not relying on multinational companies for oil. And so I'm looking at that tomorrow, and then later on in the week, electricity.
Controls it with biofuels, there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, and we'll deal with that tomorrow. OK, Claire, good to see you. Thanks very much for being with us.
The time is 6:41. Here's what's happening where you are this morning.
Thanks. I'm Charlene White with the latest in London this morning. A pilot's been arrested on suspicion of being drunk on duty. Scotland Yard confirmed officers boarded a plane at Heathrow yesterday morning. A 44-year-old man was breathalyzed and has now been bailed. Alcohol limits for aircrew are much lower than for drivers. The father of a young girl killed after crashing her quad bike will appear in court today charged over his daughter's death. 7-year-old Elizabeth Kirk died when the quad bike she was riding collided with a Range Rover on a country lane in Essex last year. Her father Gary has been charged with manslaughter. Live CCTV cameras are to be placed on buses around London in an attempt to curb antisocial behaviour. 21 buses will be fitted with the cameras during the 6-month trial. Pictures will be beamed live into a control centre manned by transport officials and police. It's hoped the move will reduce growing fears about violence on public transport. Well, on that note, let's check out the travel. Let's go to Will Gowing at Traffic Link. How is it this morning, Will?
Morning, Charlene. Thank you very much. If you're driving around South Tottenham this morning, fortunately the A10 is still closed. It's after a water main burst on Saturday, early hours of Saturday morning. Here's the closure behind me. It's shut off between Seven Sisters Road and St Anne's Road, so you're being diverted if you're coming into town along Seven Sisters Road. Here are the queues right now along that stretch, so definitely worth avoiding. It could be closed until Wednesday of this week. Some pretty major repair works need to be carried out to that. Also in Whitechapel, Commercial Street southbound, there's a lane shut there for gasworks just before Whitechapel High Street. Minor delays also on the Metropolitan line this morning after a signal failure. Here's your weather now with Manali.
GMTV weather is brought to you by new Olbus Menthol Lozenges. Breathe easy, whatever the weather.
Hello, good morning. If you're about to step out, brace yourselves. It's pretty windy outside. You'll need your umbrella too. Whilst the rain's not too heavy at the moment, we're going to see some heavy bursts through the course of the afternoon. The strong winds with it too, so feeling pretty cool and fresh if you're going to be out and about. The good news, the rain eventually clearing away, and the rest of the week's not looking too bad. Yes, it's staying quite cool and quite breezy too, but it's going to be drier and brighter. By Thursday, thickening cloud once again. Temperatures at least rising to around 16 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
And finally, you don't normally use graffiti and clean in the same sentence, but EDF Energy is looking to change that with a new environmentally friendly song. The cover of Being Green was created by putting a stencil on a dirty service and cleaning around it. Proceeds from the song, which featured in an advert for EDF, is being released today, and it will go towards renewable energy projects. That's all for now. Our next update is in half an hour. But for now, though, I can pass you back to John and Priya.
Good morning. It's not far off 6:45. Let's have a quick look at this morning's papers. Starting with The Guardian, confidence at a record low as slump looms. We're sliding towards a recession. Also a picture of Obama. His perfect weekend is ahead in the polls, and he's got the backing of Colin Powell as well. Front of the Daily Telegraph, families will feel financial pain for 3 years. That's not a very optimistic headline. And a nice picture of Lewis Hamilton hugging his stepmum and his mum after winning the Chinese Grand Prix this weekend. He's on the front of the Sun as well, as is the headline, Madonna's guy's a gold digger. Their divorce is getting increasingly acrimonious. There's lots of allegations flying about. Front of the Daily Mail, fair deal for small firms. That's their campaign to help small businesses that are struggling in the current credit crisis. And the front of the Express revealed key to living longer 20 foods, superfoods that are going to help us live forever.
Yeah, and on the front page of the Independent this morning, a story suggesting that Lord Mandelson is going to ask for a postponement of certain flex time reforms, like, for example, well, parents, people sharing jobs, etc., and extending maternity leave. Let's talk about that and a whole lot of other issues in the papers this morning with regard to the economy with the Chief Secretary of the Treasury, Yvette Cooper. Thanks very much, Dee, for being with us.
Morning,
First of all,
John.
this suggestion in the Independent that Lord Mandelson's wanting to postpone at least the plans to extend flexi time for people with children up to the age of 16, and indeed postpone the plan to extend maternity leave payments. True?
Well, I think what Peter Mandelson's been doing is looking at a whole range of ways in which we can support small businesses, help them through what are very difficult times as a result of what's going on in the global economy. What we clearly can't do, however, is do that in a way which makes life more difficult for people who are working for businesses, people who are worried about their jobs, and people who need flexible working, people who need additional support at work. So I think what we're looking at is ways of supporting small businesses and ways of introducing things flexibly. But what we're clearly going to do is carry on with the support for flexible working, because I think there's a whole load of people right across the country who need that kind of flexible working.
How do you do the two? How do you do the same time?
For example, there are different ways of supporting small businesses by helping them get access to banking finance, and we know that's been the big problem that a lot of small businesses have had as a result of the global credit crunch. Banks across the world are not lending to each other, and now actually they're not lending to the rest of us in the normal way as well, and in particular that means not lending to small businesses. And that's one of the things that Peter Mandelson has particularly said is important.
The detail I've reported here in the Independent of his proposal, is it true or not?
Well, that seems to me to be just complete speculation based on, government sources and not on anything that's been announced. And that's why, I really think it's important that we say, yes, we need to support small businesses, but what we also have to do is support the people who work in small businesses, medium-sized businesses and large businesses who might be worried about their jobs, but also who might need flexible working as well.
What about Mr Cameron's proposal that you give these small businesses a VAT holiday? You go for that?
Well, they've set out policies, I think, for tax cuts at the same time that they've also said they want to cut borrowing. So I don't see how that really adds up. But what I do think is the right thing to do is to look to ways to support small businesses, because, what you want to do is to try and keep the economy moving, to try and keep support for, businesses and also families through, we know what's going to be tougher times ahead.
Let's talk about families. A massive increase is reported anyway in the number of repossessions. You said there ought to be an easier way of doing this, that they ought to be more accommodating in their policy. Biggest culprit is your own bank, Northern Rock.
Well, what we've said is that Northern Rock has to operate on a commercial basis, and government ministers shouldn't be taking decisions about the sorts of things that Northern Rock should be taking decisions on. But I do think that it's not just about Northern Rock, it's actually about every lender across the board. They all need to be making sure that repossessions are a last resort. We should be doing what...
Is that what you're saying?
No, I think all the banks need to do more to make sure that repossessions are a last resort. And I think, banks should be working with lenders. You could try a mortgage repayment holiday. You could try a mortgage rescue scheme, maybe buy back part of their home.
But it's ironic, isn't it? That the government's own bank, Northern Rock, is way ahead of the field when it comes to repossessions. It's ironic, to put it mildly, although they refute that they only do. Well, they say they only do it as a matter of last resort. The fact is they're way ahead of all the rest when it comes to repossessions.
Well, interestingly, one of the reasons that Northern Rock got into trouble in the first place was because they had been guilty of some of those really high loans. The 125% mortgages, some of that sort of dodgy lending. So that's why they got into trouble in the first place. But I actually think this has got to be across the board. I don't think we should be intervening in individual bank decisions. We should be setting rules for all of the banks, which try and keep people in their homes, mean that they've got to look at every possible possible alternative before they actually take a case as far as a repossession.
And one quick confirmation or denial for us, if you would. The Mirror reports this morning, war on the home front. That's a proposal by Margaret Beckett to actually buy up a lot of these empty properties that are on developments at the moment and make them rentable properties for people on the council house waiting list.
We're already starting to do that. I think that's another good thing that we can do because, you know, in the end, we're faced with these big global things that are hitting every economy right across the world. There are tougher times ahead, but what government has to do in these circumstances is partly there's the things that we've done about making the banking system safe that helps the economy get moving again, but we've also got to do what we can to help people get through it, whether that's about housing, whether that's about small businesses. Look at the things where people are likely to face the squeeze and see what we can do to help.
Got to leave it there. Yvette, thank you very much for being with us.
Up next on the News Hour, will the financial crisis lead to a rash of shoplifting? Find out in just a moment.
With their new single about to be released, the boys from Take That have gone all out on their latest video. But you don't have to wait till the release to see it. Tuesday we have an interview with the boys themselves, followed by a world exclusive of the new video on Wednesday. It doesn't get much better than that. A Take That exclusive, tomorrow and Wednesday on GMTV.
Oh, do you know, I sometimes had terrible trouble sleeping. I mean, what are you supposed to do with yourself at 3 in the morning? And then my friend told me about Nitol. Tablets? Oh no, I said. Look, she said, give them a try. They work a treat for me. They just help you drift off into a natural sleep. So, I tried Nitol, and I woke up feeling refreshed. Oh, I'm much happier now, and so are the family.
Good mornings follow a good Nitol.
Packed with twice the natural antioxidant level of orange juice, Welsh's Purple Grape Juice is now also available as a smoothie.
Vitamins can be helpful sometimes.
I find vitamins so confusing.
But not everyone likes taking them.
If I don't like them, I won't eat them.
Luckily, with Bassett Soft and Chewy, taking vitamins every day is easy. Bassett Soft and Chewy. Taking vitamins doesn't have to be hard.
The champions of England and Europe take on the champions of Scotland. One massive game. It's what the Champions League is all about. It's Nakamura. Man United v Celtic on ITV1 and Arsenal on ITV4. The Champions League live, Tuesday from 6:30. Kicks for free on TV, mobile and online.
Just 6 months after the birth of her third child, Tina Hobley tells GMTV about juggling motherhood, fame and full-time work. Tomorrow.
Hi there, Monday morning, you're watching the News Hour. Now then, call it a sign of the times. Some shops have taken to security tagging meat, apparently because of the rise in shoplifting. That's according to the British Retail Consortium, who today say that they anticipate the problem to get worse because of the economic downturn. Well, Rachel Harrison has more.
Caught on camera at Meadowhall in Sheffield, this man was subsequently jailed after he stuffed £300 worth of ladies' clothing down his top. The centre has a relatively low number of thefts. Hidden cameras, vehicle registration recognition equipment and security guards all help to keep crime down. But nationally, figures show that a shoplifting incident occurs every 90 seconds. The figures released by the British Retail Consortium today have shown an improvement. Shoplifting figures have dropped by 26%. But with many predicting a recession, there is real concern that those figures will begin to soar.
In times of economic downturn, it has been seen in previous periods where people will resort to crimes, specifically shoplifting, maybe burglary.
We've been used to having a must-have society for so long. The retail sector, who's already suffering, is bracing itself for more and more people resorting to their own five-finger discount.
Well, joining me in the studio now is the British Retail Consortium's Stephen Robertson, along with Harry Calfer from Crisis Counselling for Alleged Shoplifters. Morning to you both. Now, Stephen, apparently last year shoplifting in the UK fell by a quarter. So do you think that shops who are tagging things like meat, like we heard in that report, are overreacting a bit?
No, not at all. It's absolutely good news that we've brought down retail theft by something like a quarter. But that does mean, as you saw in your package, that there's still a retail theft every 90 seconds. And that's costing the British taxpayer, the man in the street, £1.5 billion every year. So that is really unacceptable. You know, in the run-up to Christmas, it's going to cost, retail theft is going to cost £500 million. So that's a huge cost to us all, driving inflation, and of course, let's never forget the violence that's involved in all this theft.
Harry, what about you? Do you think this is overreacting, doing things like tagging?
Can I sort of dispel, you know, the cloud of ignorance so many people walk in regarding the CCAS, crisis counselling for lead shoplifters? We do not and never will condone premeditated shoplifting. That is theft.
Help people who do
people
shoplift.
who have been wrongfully accused. Many a time we get phone calls from people who are almost suicidal because they have been wrongfully accused of shoplifting.
And why do people who are guilty, why do they shoplift, the ones that do?
That's a fair question. Now, there are many of these people are drug addicts, alcoholics, and shoplifting. Those three are part of the equation today, and that's why many of them do shoplift. But there are many other reasons.
And do you think it's going to get worse? And the
I'm afraid
report
it is,
detailed the
yes.
economic crisis as a factor.
It will gain momentum. It certainly will gain momentum.
So it's one theft every 90 seconds at the moment. How bad do you predict that it might get?
Well, it's certainly going to go up. There's no doubt about that. In fact, the Home Office, in a leaked report only a few weeks ago, said exactly this. They were going to see an uptick in crime. What we would like to see is that a movement from nationally set targets to locally set police targets. We'd also like to see the penalty notices, because at the moment we're seeing a lot of time penalty notices, £80 penalty notices, handed out to shoplifters who repeatedly steal or perform acts of violence on members of staff. This needs to be tightened up, and it's long overdue that government and the police took retail crime seriously.
So you don't think the punishments are hard enough, the deterrents aren't hard enough? What do you think,
This is where we take issue on this point. Many people have been wrongfully accused of shoplifting, and there's not always do they go intentionally. They're going through a problem, family problem, may it be a loss of a loved one. There are many reasons. We live, and we've got to come to terms with this, in a sick society. And we've got to face the fact.
It's not just as clear cut as being greedy and we want more.
Black and white to it. No.
Okay.
You can make a mistake. Now,
gentlemen, we're going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid. But thank you both for joining us this morning. Thank you.
That's just about it from the news hour. Fiona and Ben are up next with GMTV Today, talking to Corrie's John Stape. Not Stapes.
Not you.
If you're a fan, you know that's a real character in the show, and they'll be talking to actor Graham Hawley. He'll be in after 8 o'clock.
Up next, so it's Claire with the weather.
Hello there. Well, sadly, I've got some bad news for most of us. Rain this week, very unsettled. In fact, we're expecting gales today and Thursday, and it's going to be feeling cold. We could even get a frost at midweek and perhaps even some sleet across the higher ground of Scotland. Let's take a look.
GMTV Weather, sponsored by Nestlé Whole Grain Cereals. Keep your family healthy every day.
There's a heavy warning out for rain this morning. Pretty awful conditions, particularly across the northwest of Wales, as well as Cumbria and Dumfries and Galloway. Do take extra care if you're out and about this morning. Associated with that will be some very strong winds as well. Now, the reason why we've got a weather front coming in from the northwest, it's moving from the northwest to the southeast. It does mean hanging on to just about some dry weather across the far southeast this morning. An area of clouds across much of England and Wales. And then behind you've got some clearer skies now, but packing in from the Atlantic, a lot of showers across western and northern areas of Scotland. And then through the afternoon, the rain will slowly clear from northern counties of England as well as northern parts of Wales. But we hang on to the wind. The wind's going to be strong wherever you are today. Blustery across many areas, but those tight up towards the north and the west of Scotland where we could see gales. And gusts this morning are likely to be 40 to 50 miles an hour. So pretty nasty conditions, not only this morning, through this afternoon as well. As we head through the afternoon, the cloud will gradually clear across northern counties of Wales. Hang on to some more down towards the south of Wales. Outbreaks of rain across central southern England as well as the Channel Islands. But I'd say anywhere from Lincolnshire, Midlands northwards, you should see some drier weather. The showers coming and going right the way through the afternoon across much of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. In between you could see some sunshine, but the wind's pretty strong, and top temperatures probably 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. So it's a pretty nasty day on the cards wherever you are. And in fact, through this evening, more rain is expected, particularly across the north and the west of Scotland. Clearer skies across perhaps even the eastern side of Scotland, down towards the northeast of England. But generally speaking, if you're heading home from work, do remember an umbrella across these areas. Midlands then getting away with some dry weather much later on, but it's going to be a wet end to the day across central southern England. It clears away from the West Country, more showers coming in across Northern Ireland. So that's the picture this evening. And then over the next few days, it does improve just about. What that means tomorrow, we are expecting some drier weather, perhaps even just 1 or 2 showers across the far north and west of Scotland. But generally speaking, we could see some sunshine. And that's how we see Wednesday, Thursday, more rain on the cards. This is summary. Get a 5-day weather update for your postcode on our website, gm.tv.
Good morning. Inflexible, family-friendly work reforms fall victim to the economic downturn as the government attempts to keep businesses afloat.
Housing bailout. Government plans to buy unwanted homes from developers and rent them out to people on the housing waiting list.
And too much bottled wire recycling bins reveal just how much many of us are drinking at home. That's why we're talking all about on Monday, the 20th of October 2008. Hi there, you're watching GMTV Today. It is 7 o'clock.
Yes, breaking our addiction with oil, or to oil. Claire Nazir has been finding out how vulnerable we are, or will be, if the fuel runs out.
Coming up soon on GMTV, my investigation into how long we've got before oil runs out.
And also, the truth is out there. Apparently, according to top-secret government files released this morning, they revealed dozens of unexplained close encounters with UFOs. We'd love to know if you've actually seen any aliens, or maybe met some as well.
We work with a few upstairs.
One or two.
There's quite a few up there. Bless them all.
Glad you said that.
Have you had a good night's sleep? You haven't, have you?
No, not at all. I've noticed. We're going to get the news. Priya standing by. Morning, Priya.
Thanks very much. Good morning. The top story at just gone 7. The Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Yvette Cooper, has told GMTV that the government is looking at ways of supporting small businesses at the same time as ensuring that people are given the ability to work flexible hours. She described as complete speculation newspaper reports that proposals on flexi time were being postponed. Well, Jonathan Swain's at Westminster this morning with more details. Jonathan.
Morning to you, Priya. At a time when families, hard-pressed families in the UK perhaps need a little extra help, it seems that certain aspects of the government are reluctant to do it, saying that it would damage the economy and small businesses even further. Well, Yvette Cooper may well have said in the last half an hour it is speculation, but it's been widely reported today that plans to increase flexible working hours for parents with children under the age of 16 have been postponed. Another unpopular move, particularly with mums-to-be watching this morning, is the postponement of extending maternity pay from the current 39 weeks to 52 weeks. That may well force new mums back into work earlier. Well, the killjoy behind these measures is the newly appointed Lord Mandelson. He says that these policies would cost businesses in the UK too much money, and Yvette Cooper said the priority for the government at the moment is to kickstart our economy.
Yes, we need to support small businesses, but what we also have to do is support the people who work in small businesses, medium-sized businesses and large businesses who might be worried about their jobs, but also who might need flexible working as well.
Well, politically here at Westminster, the economy is still very much the focus. Today, David Cameron, the Tory leader, is meeting small businesses. He's calling for 1 pence to be cut off national insurance rates for businesses with only 4 workers or fewer. He says that 13 million people are employed by small businesses, and they are the lifeblood of the economy. Well, we know that things are pretty tough out there at the moment. Officially, we're told later on this week the UK will be told that we are officially in recession. And nobody pretty likes to talk about Christmas, particularly not me in the middle of October, but we're told that Christmas sales are going to be the worst for some 30 years.
Jonathan, thanks. The government is planning to buy thousands of newly built homes from developers who've been unable to sell them. They'll be rented to people waiting for a council house. The move comes as the housing market continues to struggle. The Council of Mortgage Lenders is predicting a big rise in repossessions. Well, Cordelia Kretschmar is at an estate agent's in West London this morning. Cordelia.
Morning. Look in any estate agent's window and you will see the problem. Lots of unsold properties with new build developments selling worst of all. Well, now the government plans to buy thousands of those unsold new builds, spending £13 million in the first phase of its scheme on 335 London homes. Millions more will follow for homes across the country. The idea is to rent those homes back to you, possibly, back to people waiting for council housing. And the Lib Dem Treasury spokesman, Vince Cable, just told us he thinks that's quite a clever idea.
You solve several problems at the same time. You provide homes for people who need it, you provide jobs in the building industry, and you help head off more bad loans for the banks. So it's a very good idea. I'm glad the government have got round to it.
Government's also tackling another of its big dirty words today, repossessions. You've just heard the Treasury Minister, Yvette Cooper, speaking on the programme a few minutes ago. She was telling banks and building societies to cut the number of repossessions drastically. She wants repos to become a last resort. No government ideas today, though, on something affecting more and more of us all the time, and that is negative equity. New figures show 60,000 of us are entering it every single month at the moment. And that means, according to those figures, it's shaping up to be much worse this time around than the crash was in the 1990s.
Cordelia, thank you. The dangers of drinking too much at home are highlighted in a new campaign launched today. The charity Drink Aware says that many of us are already worried about the amount of alcohol we get through. Nick Dixon reports.
A recycling bin full of bottles could well be a sign that alcohol is damaging your health. The warning comes from the charity Drink Aware. Their survey found Britons drink at home more often than they now do in pubs, bars and restaurants, nearly twice a week at home. The research also found that many of us are worrying about the amount of alcohol we drink. 1 in 6 people are concerned after looking at the number of bottles being recycled.
And when you are at home, it can be quite easy to lose track of just how much you've had until perhaps you take a closer look at the recycle bin.
The government's recommended drinking guidelines are 2 to 3 units a day for women and 3 to 4 for men. But the charity says few of us actually understand what those limits mean. The dangers of drinking too much at home are highlighted in a new campaign launched today.
Now, with just over 2 weeks to go until the Americans vote for their next president, Democrat Barack Obama's campaign has received a major boost. The former Republican Secretary of State, Colin Powell, has backed Mr. Obama over John McCain. Sue Jameson's in New York this morning. Sue.
Yes, good morning. Barack Obama's trying not to be complacent and looking at the winning flag, but there are signs that it is waving. First of all, the endorsement by Colin Powell, one of the most respected, of course, Republican politicians, who up until now has said nothing, but he's endorsed him, a ringing endorsement.
He is a transformational figure. He is a new generation coming into the world, onto the world stage, onto the American stage, and for that reason, I'll be voting for Senator Barack Obama.
And not only has he endorsed Barack Obama, but he also criticised John McCain for dithering over the economy, for picking Sarah Palin and for running negative ads. And Barack Obama's also had a huge boost this weekend from the fundraising. He's raked in $150 million in September. That's twice the amount of in August. He's also got endorsements from newspapers. This is just one of many giving him an endorsement when last time they went for George Bush. So the sign's certainly good.
Sue, thanks. Scouts are to be given sexual health and relationship advice for the first time. New guidance from the Scouting Association, aimed at 14 to 18-year-olds, advises leaders to discuss contraception. Scout groups will also be able to organise trips to sexual health clinics. Finally, a passenger jet coming into land at Heathrow Airport had a near miss with a UFO. That's according to government files. It's one of many accounts of unexplained objects in the sky contained in military documents released today by the National Archives. 8 minutes past 7 is the time. Here's what's happening where you are this morning.
Thanks. I'm Charlene White with the latest in London this morning. A pilot's been arrested on suspicion of being drunk on duty. Scotland Yard confirmed officers boarded a plane at Heathrow yesterday morning. A 44-year-old man was breathalyzed and has now been bailed. Alcohol limits for aircrew are much lower than for drivers. The father of a young girl killed after crashing her quad bike will appear in court today, charged over his daughter's death. 7-year-old Elizabeth Cook died when the quad bike she was riding collided with a Range Rover on a country lane in Essex last year. Her father Gary has been charged with her manslaughter. Live CCTV cameras are to be placed on buses around London in an attempt to curb antisocial behaviour. 21 buses will be fitted with the cameras during the 6-month trial. Pictures will be beamed live into a control centre manned by transport officials and police. It's hoped the move will reduce growing fears about violence on public transport. Well, talking of transport, let's take a look at the travel. Will Gowans at Traffic Link. How is it this morning, Will?
Good morning. It's pretty busy if you're heading into town on the A13 right now on the westbound carriageway. One lane closed off at the moment with an accident. You can see the emergency services still on the scene there. Now, that's just before you get to the Beckton roundabout. There are long queues, as you can see, heading all the way back through to Marsh Way at the moment. So very, very busy coming into town on the A13 for this early start this morning. Elsewhere, it's also looking slow now for the A10. Here's the closure in South Tottenham. It's closed off in both directions between Seven Sisters Road and St Anne's Road. That's all because of a burst water main. Long queues on Seven Sisters Road at the moment. Also, if you're heading to the tubes, minor delays on the Metropolitan line. Here's your weather now with Manali.
GMTV weather is brought to you by new Olbus Menthol Lozenges. Breathe easy, whatever the weather.
Hello, good morning. If you're about to step out, brace yourselves. It's pretty windy outside. You'll need your umbrella too. Whilst the rain's not too heavy at the moment, we're going to see some heavy bursts through the course of the afternoon. The strong winds with it too, so feeling pretty cool and fresh if you're going to be out and about. The good news, the rain eventually clearing away and the rest of the week's not looking too bad. Yes, it's staying quite cool and quite breezy too, but it's going to be drier and brighter. By Thursday, thickening cloud once again. Temperatures at least rising to around 16 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
And finally, you don't normally use graffiti and clean in the same sentence, but EDF Energy is looking to change that with a new environmentally friendly song. The cover of Being Green was created by putting a stencil on a dirty surface and cleaning around it. Proceeds from the song, which featured in an advert for EDF and is being released today, will go towards renewable energy projects. Right, well, that's all for now. Our next update is an hour, but for now, though, it's back to Ben and Fiona.
So how many of you have put out your recycling bin this morning and it looks a little bit like this? Full of bottles, hard evidence of too much hard drinking across the weekend. I'm sure there's plenty of people up and down the country very much like that in our household some mornings. Research out today shows many of us are worrying about our alcohol intake, not from thinking about the amount of units we drink, but from looking at how many empty bottles and cans we're recycling each week. Sometimes it's the only indication we have. Here's Miranda Shunker.
Does your recycle box reveal more about your drinking habits than you realised?
With less money to spend these days, more people than ever before are choosing to drink at home instead of going out. And when you're pouring your own measures, it's easy to lose track of just how much you've had. Until, that is, you've popped that empty bottle into the recycling box. So what have we got here? A bit of red wine, a bit of white, a few beers and a bit of champagne as well. It's quite a collection you've got here, isn't it?
It is, and it's a bit of a shock, isn't it, when you see it all there.
34-year-old Rachel Barber admits to drinking 5 or 6 nights a week.
Did you know, for example, 2 large glasses of wine for a woman is considered to be a binge?
No, and we all drink large glasses now. Small glasses, they're sort of quite old-fashioned and we're very used to doing the big glasses, and yeah, it's quite shocking that that's what the stats say.
And just next door, Rachel's neighbour also has his own recycling box filled with plenty of empties.
Well, I'm a beer and cider man, but what's interesting is when you bring the box out and you look at it like this, it really is surprising to see how much I've been through, and it's just a couple of days.
It's convenient to drink at home, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the social aspect as well. I mean, I get to spend better time with my mates coming around watching football, and rather than, you know, sort of heading out to a pub, and it is cheaper.
So we're joined now by GP Dawn Harper, who is fronting the Drink Aware campaign, which launches today. Good morning, thanks for coming in. So we've seen an increase of drinking at home, clearly.
Well, and I think we'll probably see more, actually, with the credit crunch. More people are staying at home. And interestingly, the Drink Aware campaign is targeting ordinary drinkers, people like you and I who enjoy a glass of wine at home and perhaps don't necessarily sit back and count up what we're drinking. But the whole idea about this, and I think that the recycle bin is a very clever image, actually, because it's a very easy way of just totting up what you and your other half perhaps have gone through in one week, and it can be quite scary.
It suddenly makes you very aware of actually how easy it is to sit at home and drink without thinking about the consequences. There's a big difference, isn't there, if you're buying drinks in a pub with some friends to sitting at home and just constantly refilling your own glass?
Definitely, because you're topping up, and actually you're probably not thinking about units, you're not thinking about the number of glasses glasses you've had in different rounds in a pub. And it's fantastically easy, it's frighteningly easy to exceed recommended guidelines. Most people don't know what those guidelines are, and if they do, they're probably a little bit out of date.
Sure.
In that, you know, for a woman, we should be restricting ourselves to 2 or 3 units a day maximum, and most people, even if they know what a unit is, would probably get it wrong, and they would say that a bottle of wine has got 6 units in it and a small glass of wine is 1 unit. In fact, that is based on old percentages, and wines are stronger today than they ever were.
There's more alcohol in them, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So this is the average bottle of wine?
Which is probably, I would guess that's probably a 12% bottle of wine.
Yeah.
OK. Really simple way of calculating your units is the percent alcohol that you're drinking is the number of units in a litre of that fluid. So if you're drinking 12% wine, there are 12 units in a litre.
Okay.
What that means is in a 750ml bottle, standard size bottle, there are 9 units.
Just 3/4 of that.
3/4 of 12, 9 units.
And then the other thing that's interesting is when you think about, so the average daily intake should be no more than 2 units for a woman,
2 or 3 for women, 3 or 4 for a man.
As soon as you drink twice that much, you're binge drinking.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we all tend to think of binge drinking as people lying in a gutter on a Saturday night vomiting. In fact, binging is really only taking twice as many as the recommended guidelines. And so if, as a woman, you're having a couple of large glasses of wine at night, then you are effectively binging, and you ought to be giving your liver 48 hours off.
And that's the important point, is if you're going to do this, you've got to let your body recover. I think we revealed on Friday that drinking 9 units a day, which, let's face it, could be a whole bottle, one of these, if you manage to drink a bottle of wine a day, you can increase your risk of getting breast cancer by 50%.
There's all sorts of health risks associated, and I think people tend to think about the liver with alcohol, but there's the Drink Aware campaign who have launched this today. They've got their own website, drinkaware.co.uk, and all sorts of information there on calculating your own units and the health risks associated. Really worth having a look at. Quite frightening reading. It is,
but it's great to be aware. Dawn, thank you very much for coming in this morning and talking about that. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you embarrassed about putting all your empty bottles out for recycling? Let us know what you think. Text us 67890. They can be anonymous, so you don't have to embarrass yourselves. They'll cost 25p plus your standard network charge. Lots of you saying it's so much cheaper to drink at home at the moment as well, isn't it? Which makes a big difference.
My brother's got a very nice pub, though. He'll be very, very distressed to hear you encouraging drinking at home.
I'm just saying lots of people find it cheaper.
Milk thistle and artichoke. It's very good for your liver.
Clears it all out, does it?
Well, it doesn't clear it all out, but it helps, I think.
I could do with a pint of that.
16 minutes past 7. The government is planning to buy thousands of newly built homes from developers to rent to people on council waiting lists. And the Conservative leader, David Cameron, is calling for a 6-month national insurance cut to help small businesses during the economic downturn. The weather, wind and rain in the north. Most other areas are wet this morning, dry this afternoon, getting cooler, a top temperature of 16 Celsius.
OK, now we need to point out we're having a few problems with the website this morning. We're hoping to have it up and running a little bit later on. Lots to look forward to in the show, though. You might be thinking that UFOs belong in the X-Files, or Fringe, if you've been watching Fringe, which is even better than the X-Files. It's on Sky. But you'd be wrong. The truth really is out there, according to the Ministry of Defence. Richard Gatesford is on the case for us this morning, down in Portsmouth. We're talking to him later on, but we want to know whether you've seen a UFO. Text us 67890. Cost you 25p to standard network charge.
The texts are working, aren't they?
The texts are working.
Good,
the website's
good.
a little bit of problems with the website.
Now then, according to a GMTV survey, 70% of you think that children receive too much pocket money. We'd love to hear, actually, how much you give your children, at what age, how much, what they have to do for it, do they have to do anything for it? Love to hear from you. You've just got a text number. So here with a guide on how to teach children the value of money is parenting expert Siobhan Freegard.
Every family has different ideas about how much pocket money a child should get, what they should use it for, or indeed whether they should have any at all. Pocket money is usually given as a reward for doing chores, but some parents believe household jobs should be done with no money expected. But the main issue is that children should know the value of money. One really lovely idea is to have 2 piggy banks, a spending pig and a saving pig. And if you encourage them to split the money between the two, they can use the saving pig for saving for longer term goals and the spending pig for spending on things like comics and sweets. For younger children, money is an abstract idea that's difficult to understand, so try using a currency they know. A really nice way to explain it is to use something that they like and understand. So if an ice cream costs £1, the DVD that costs £14 is equal to 14 ice creams. For more tips on raising kids, go to the website at gm.tv.
Yeah, but I want it bigger.
We thought it was pretty big, sir.
No, much, much bigger.
OK, you're the boss?
Yes, I am.
Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up. What make you eat so much? Eat 'em up. What make you glut so much? Eat 'em up. I wonder who's to blame. Eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em up.
4 out of 5 women agreed that Special K Sustain helps them stop feeling hungry till lunch. It contains fibre and protein. Special K Sustain. See if it can sustain you till lunch.
Some say love.
From the divine Miss M comes the ultimate best of, the best bet. The definitive collection from a true icon. Bette Midler, more glamorous and fabulous than ever. The best bet, out now.
If you can't find it in my kitchen, you won't find it in my bolognese sauce.
Mama's bolognese. When's your dolmio day?
I'd really like Jimmy to start playing his video games.
Now everyone is looking at video games in a whole new way, thanks to vSmile, the educational video game system. With vSmile, your child will learn numbers, letters, and all the other early learning skills they need. vSmile is easy to use, and there's lots of fun learning games to choose from. Turn game time into brain time with vSmile TV learning system from VTech.
Munch Bunch! Hi kids, I'm Munch. Let's colour me in. Looks like you need some help. Time for some Munch Bunch.
One portion of Munch Bunch contains as much calcium as a glass of milk to help kids grow. And delicious fruit.
Wow! You've grown into quite an artist.
Munch Bunch, great for growing kids.
The winter collections arrived at littlewoodsdirect.com.
Shadowy lies uncovered. Murky pasts unearthed and examined, unravelling strands of doubt. When it comes to finding the truth, no evidence is as clear as your DNA. You know who I am, but do you know who you are?
Lorraine Kelly's DNA story starts tonight at 9, Sky Real Lives Channel 243 and Sky Real Lives HD.
Sean is back to charm the farm in Abracadabra, his brand new DVD, featuring 8 barnstorming adventures and a shed load of fun. Join the flock and get your woolly mitts on Sean the Sheep. Abracadabra, out now on DVD.
There's money potential in there.
And I like the idea.
Our 12 mumpreneur semi-finalists have proved they're the best in their region. Now they go head-to-head live in the studio.
Very nervous.
And you decide who will be this morning's first mumpreneur.
Just got to go for it, give it your best shot.
The mumpreneurs semi-final, all this week.
With me.
Hello again, 7:23 on a Monday morning. What sort of vocals have you woken up to this morning? Has your partner got a Cockney accent? Wow, if he has, or she has, it is the least liked regional accident in the land,
Accident?
apparently.
It is an accident.
Did I say accident? It's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, there's a new survey that's been out today that reveals that Cockneys are the most disliked accent. He may be a soccer sensation, but when it comes to his voice, it's poor old David Beckham who's been voted as having the most annoying accent of all. Let's listen to it.
Oh, David.
They're eating the broccoli and they're eating the carrots and they're eating the fruit that they wouldn't usually eat.
I'm sorry, I don't have an issue with that.
Well, I don't even hear his voice, to be honest with you. I don't think many people do.
Obviously, alongside our Cockney, David Beckham, there you go, is Amy Winehouse. Blake incarcerated. Oh, we don't have Amy talking because it would offend too many people, apparently.
And according to this same survey, we have a bit of a national communication problem on our hands because apparently regional sort of words like, if only I could find the blasted things, where are they? Hang on a minute. Scran, do you know what scran means?
It's food, isn't it?
In Liverpool, apparently.
And oggies, pies down in Cornwall.
Yeah.
We wouldn't necessarily know that, but we might know what a piazza is, which is Spanish for square.
And we know what Wiener's are. They're German sausages, but we don't know what scran is.
We don't know what scran is.
Anyway, that's all according to this survey. The Birmingham accent comes in for some stick again, as exhibited by the lovely Ozzy Osbourne. I love his accent.
I'm getting a lot better than I was at the beginning of the year. But I've got to go, so I'll see you later.
See, it's not the accident. The accident. Why do I keep saying accident? Because it's Monday morning.
I love that, though. I love the Birmingham accent. So I haven't been there at university. I think if you spend enough time in an area, you fall in love with the accent because you get to know the people and the atmosphere.
But that's the thing. If you know a person like Ozzy, it's his accent.
But of course,
really
the accent that comes out on top is all you guys up in the northeast. It's the Geordies, and these boys do it better than anyone. Maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
My own cologne would be good.
Aftershave.
Come on.
Ant and Deck the aftershave. Who wouldn't want the smell of us?
You can't help but laugh.
And Cheryl Cole, bless her.
Cheryl Cole.
From the same neck of the woods. Do let us know which accents you love, which accents you hate. You can text us. I'll give you the number later on because I've forgotten it. Basically.
67890.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've learnt that after all these
years.
years.
What about the terms and conditions, though? They'll be found on the website, gm.tv.
Because the website's not working.
Oh, no, that's true.
I apologise for that.
Yeah,
what is working, though, is the weather. And Claire's standing by. Got a lovely accent, haven't you?
It's Milton Keynes accent. It's very good. It's an amalgamation of lots of different accents, Milton Keynes, because we've only been existing for about 40 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's more than you lot.
It's a brand new accent.
It's a brand new accent, yes. There you go. Interesting. Weather-wise today, there's a lot of weather around. Sadly, yeah, good. Sadly, unsettled right the way through the week, windy at times and feeling colder. Should we take a look?
GMTV weather. By Nestle whole grain cereals. Keep your family healthy every day.
The clouds thickening all the while across central and eastern areas of the country. The rain is further north at the moment. We do have a TV crew for you this morning down in Portsmouth Spinnaker Tower. That's an amazing building, isn't it? It really is. We can just about see perhaps a little bit of blue sky there. It's not going to last. We are going to see the rain later on. And certainly today it's going to be very windy. I wonder if that building sways in the wind. It might do. Who knows? The Met Office has issued warnings this morning for heavy rain, particularly across the northwest of Wales, Cumbria, Dumfries and Galloway. And sadly that rain is moving its way from the northwest to the southeast. Many areas in the southeast haven't seen rain for about 2 weeks. That's going to be a bit of a shock to the system. Further north and west, we're seeing a rash of showers, and they're going to continue to move in on a very strong wind across the north and the west of Scotland. A dry start across Northern Ireland and some drier weather coming in just about across more southern areas as that rain gradually sinks its way southwards. This area of rain here will move across the Midlands through the morning as well as the West Country. Now to the north, it's bands of showers, to be honest, and those showers blown in, those winds are very strong. They're pretty nasty conditions, gusts up to around 40 or 45 miles an hour, even blustery further south. So pretty nasty conditions if you are heading out this morning, and it's not going to change through the afternoon, to be honest. Everywhere will continue windy, and most of us seeing cloud and also outbreaks of rain. The rain clears across, I'd say, Lincolnshire, the Midlands, but south of that you'll see some wet weather to end the day. Central parts of Scotland as well as northern counties of England could see 1 or 2 showers, and heavy showers likely coming in across the north and the west of Scotland, clipping Northern Ireland as well. Temperatures then 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. So that's the picture around lunchtime. If you're heading out this evening or coming back from work, do remember your umbrella if you're heading out across the north and west of Scotland. Perhaps some drier interludes across the eastern strip of England, and in fact for the Midlands and central parts of Wales, not doing too badly at all. It's a wet end to the day across central southern England as well as the West Country, northern parts of Wales up towards Northern Ireland. But this is probably the worst day for the next 3 or 4 days. Tomorrow's looking pretty good, as is Wednesday, just a few showers, and then we're expecting some blustery weather as we head through to Thursday. Here's your summary. Find out what's in store for the next 5 days on our website, gm.tv.
Lorraine has got the X Factor rejects on later on, hasn't she?
On.
Yeah, they're coming in later in the programme. Let's get the news now with Priya. Here she is.
Thanks, Fiona. Good morning. The government is planning to buy thousands of newly built homes from developers who've been unable to sell them. They'll be renting them to people waiting for a council house. The move comes as the housing market continues to struggle, with more than 60,000 homeowners a month falling into negative equity. The Council of Mortgage Lenders is predicting a big rise in repossessions this year. The Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Yvette Cooper, has told GMTV that the government is looking at ways of supporting small businesses at the same time as ensuring that people are given the ability to work flexible hours. She described as complete speculation newspaper reports that proposals on flexi time were being postponed. It's also claimed that plans to extend paid maternity leave could be shelved. Meanwhile, the Conservatives are calling for small businesses to be allowed to defer paying VAT for up to 6 months. They say it could prevent some companies from going to the wall.
The turmoil in banks is now going to convert to turmoil in business, and they're going to need help. So we want to give them a VAT holiday. We want to reduce national insurance payments for smaller businesses, because in short, we've given the banks a lifeline, and now we've got to give businesses a lifeline.
The dangers of drinking too much at home are being highlighted in a new campaign launched today. The charity Drink Aware says many of us are already worried about the amount of alcohol we get through. Nick Dixon reports.
A recycling bin full of bottles could well be a sign that alcohol is damaging your health. The warning comes from the charity Drink Aware. Their survey found Britons drink at home more often than they now do in pubs, bars and restaurants, nearly twice a week at home. The research also found that many of us are worrying about the amount of alcohol we drink. 1 in 6 people are concerned after looking at the number of bottles being recycled.
And when you are at home, it can be quite easy to lose track of just how much you've had until perhaps you take a closer look at the recycle bin.
The government's recommended drinking guidelines are 2 to 3 units a day for women and 3 to 4 for men. But the charity says few of us actually understand what those limits mean. The dangers of drinking too much at home are highlighted in a new campaign launched today.
Police have been given more time to question the father of 19-year-old Victoria Couchman, whose remains were found in woodland on Hastings. Parts of a skeleton were uncovered by a forensic team after children found a human skull. Her father's been arrested on suspicion of murder. With just over 2 weeks to go until Americans vote for the next president, Democrat Barack Obama's campaign has received a major boost. The former Republican Secretary of State, Colin Powell, has backed Mr. Obama over John McCain. He said he had the ability to inspire. Mr. McCain later told supporters the media had written off his campaign, but he would fight on with their support. Scouts are to be given sexual health and relationship advice for the first time. New guidance from the Scouting Association, aimed at 14 to 18-year-olds, advises leaders to discuss contraception. Scout groups will also be able to organise trips to sexual health clinics. The time is 7:32. Back to Fiona and Ben now.
Thanks, Priya. Now then, question we're asking you this morning and all this week is, could we live without oil? Claire has been investigating the unthinkable, a world without oil and everything that goes with it. Imagine it's cars, trains, planes, energy, plastics, more or less everything, the food we eat. You'd be amazed. She's got a special series that begins after...
And Rosie Webster disappeared 3 weeks ago.
Where's she been?
Where is she? I reckon that John Stapes has got something to do with it. Not John Stapleton, our own respected elder statesman.
Always been very suspicious of him.
Rosie's ex-boyfriend, John Stapes. The actor that plays him, Graham Hawley, is in very soon. See you after this.
There is only one Michael Jackson. There is only one King of Pop. King of Pop includes all Michael Jackson's greatest songs on one CD. The very best of a global superstar. Michael Jackson, King of Pop, is out now.
This is Strictly Come Dancing, the album.
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody start to sing.
19 glittering tracks performed by the Strictly Come Dancing band. Read about the dances and learn to waltz and jive like the Strictly Come Dancing stars. Strictly Come Dancing, out now.
New from Play School. Let's play in the night garden. Iggle Piggle, are you looking for Upsy Daisy? Is she on the bridge? Maybe she's in there. No, that's Macca Packer's home. Wake up, Tombly Boos. Do you know where Upsy Daisy is? Maybe the Pinky Pong knows. There's Upsy Daisy. She's jumping in the gazebo. Let's jump too. Come and play with the In the Night Garden Soft and Cozy playset from Play School.
An igloo is a really effective protective shelter. So's this. New Igloo. An effective protective mouth ulcer treatment that sticks fast.
Glade scented oils have a unique warming plate. It melts the candle, creates a fragrant pool, then fills the whole room with fragrance. Scented oils from Glade. And now we've gone all Christmassy with spiced apple.
These are the antioxidants in a glass of orange juice. But amazingly, a glass of Welch's purple grape juice has twice the natural antioxidant level.
No way!
No? Watch this. Fantastic. Brilliant. Welch's purple grape juice. Packed with twice the natural antioxidant level of orange juice. Now also available as a smoothie.
Welcome to Planet U. Your intestines, to be precise. Here are some of the 100 trillion bacteria that call this 24-foot ecosystem home. These friendly Lactobacillus casei shirota are found in Yakult and have been proven by our scientists to help the beneficial bacteria multiply and thrive. A healthy gut makes for stronger natural defences. Yakult, taking care of Planet U.
Katherine Jenkins sings sacred arias. Experience a voice of beauty, joy, and emotion. Katherine Jenkins, Sacred Arias. The new album, out now.
For some women, California dreaming is a reality. Meet the ladies of La La Land and peek into a lavish lifestyle of success, sunshine, and celebrity neighbors. Welcome to the glamorous world of Hollywood wives, this week on GMTV.
Hello again, Monday morning, 23 minutes to 8. Now then, we are constantly being told, aren't we, about how the price of oil affects our daily lives. But without it, if you think about this, we'd have no cars, no planes, and most of the items in our home, well, it would just stop working. So with predictions that oil will run out in 40 years, how will we cope without it? Well, this week, Claire Nazir is investigating how we're going to fuel our future. Here's her first report.
Without oil, there'd be no cars, no shipping, and no planes. So are we prepared for the day oil runs out?
We can't squeeze much more out of the North Sea, and we rely on a pipeline from Europe for extra supply. But that is vulnerable to political or terrorist threat. On our own, we just have 90 days reserve. Globally, oil is mined in these specific areas, and it's the situation in these countries that affects our pockets. As world demand for oil continues to rise, production cannot keep up, thus failing to meet our demand.
And as these figures show, it will not only affect the oil industry, but every single person living in this country.
Oil forms the basis of not only fuel, but many materials that make up products in our homes. If our oil supply depleted, pumps running dry would be just one of many problems.
Behind me is the Stanlow refinery. The crude oil is refined to produce the basis of our fuel, including petrochemicals, which forms materials such as plastics, detergents, polyester and nylon.
There are 9 of these around the UK, and each refinery needs to adapt now to evolving trends in oil product demand. In June, we saw the effect a 4-day strike had here at Stanlow, where local filling stations began to run out of fuel almost immediately.
Experts here at the University of Liverpool have been studying the effects of oil depletion.
Well, quite clearly, one of the earliest impacts will be such things as transport and especially energy. One of my concerns here is fuel poverty, and obviously those who will be impacted the worst, the most vulnerable, the elderly and the poor. But it will also impact different communities in different ways as well. The rural communities will probably feel quite a heavy impact, if not already. And not just transportation costs and energy costs, but a whole wide variety of products will be affected. If you went into your house and removed everything that had anything to do with oil in it, there wouldn't be a lot left.
Oh dear, that's the stark reality. Claire is here now. That is frightening. Could oil really run out?
Yes. I mean, obviously, most experts are saying we've got about 40 years of oil left, while I'll be drawing my pension and maybe a bit more, and your children will be in their mid-40s.
I noticed you skipped me there.
Well, I know us.
I'll be dead is what she said.
But the worrying thing is that oil's going to become more, it's a commodity, it's going to become more and more scarce as we go through the next 20 years, and obviously prices are going to go up. But we are addicted to oil. It's the bloodline of society.
Well,
I mean, sorry,
I was going to say, so can we live without it?
No,
then?
we can't. I mean, I'd be sitting here naked right now if we didn't. Yeah, well, because there's synthetic
can or
materials.
can't live with this, I'm not sure.
Synthetic materials, nylon. I mean, nobody would be able to see us on the TV because obviously all the plastics. I wouldn't be able to see anything because I'm wearing contact lenses. Everything is derived from oil and some constituent.
What about biofuels and things?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about biofuels tomorrow. It's a very interesting subject, quite controversial. Many countries are going down the road of biofuels because they want to become self-sufficient. They don't want to be relying on these multinational companies or oil-producing nations to buy the oil from. And we're going to be competing more and more with other countries for the limited supply of oil that's left.
And apart from biofuels, which, as you say, we're doing tomorrow, what are the alternatives?
Well, the alternatives are like the hydrogen fuel cell, which needs a lot more development. We need a lot more research into other ways. But it's things like changing our lifestyle as well, buying more locally and using more natural fibres and reducing the way we consume.
And then people say, well, that's all right for other people, not for me.
Yeah, well, it's tricky for everybody, to be honest, isn't it? I mean, just walking down the road, I don't know how people think that they could live without oil. I mean, just taking a bus every morning, and even the shoes we wear, everything is connected with oil in some way. It's a fascinating
Well, we
subject.
don't think about it, do we?
No,
That's
we
the
don't.
thing, and it's about time we started. That's Claire's message. Thank you very much indeed.
OK, the time is 19 minutes late. These are the main headlines you're waking up to this morning. The government is planning to buy thousands of newly built homes from developers to rent to people on council waiting lists. The Conservative leader David Cameron is calling for a 6-month national insurance cut to help small businesses during the economic downturn. And today's weather, wind and rain in the north. Most other areas will be wet this morning, but drier in the afternoon, a top temperature of 16 degrees Celsius. OK, we'll experience 1 or 2 problems with the website this morning, we should point out. We're hoping to have it up and running a little bit later on in the day. Coming to an interesting subject for you now. Cue the music. They say the truth is out there. This morning, it most certainly is, apparently. The Ministry of Defence releases its previously top-secret files on UFOs. The report includes numerous UFO sightings from all over the country, reports from pilots of strange objects seen from their airplanes, and a woman who claims she's from the Sirius system and that her spacecraft crashed here during the Second World War. To tell us more about this, Richard Gageford is at the Spinnaker Tower in Portsmouth, which some believe is a beacon for UFOs. Morning, Richard.
Yes, good morning to you, Ben. Well, of course, we all have an idea, don't we, of what an alien might look like from the Hollywood films. These props and masks here are part of an exhibition about alien invasions, and whether or not the alien from Alien is what would end up here on Earth is a matter, of course, of much speculation. But what we do know is, since this place has been built, it has become something of a mecca for UFOs. Ufologists in the area say the design, the lights, and the general style of it have actually acted as something of a beacon for UFOs. There's been a lot of strange lights and objects in the skies around this place, and it's been a bit of a concern. Well, today's report isn't about those particular sightings. It's about sightings between 1986 and 1992. Strange lights and objects in the sky that have been reported to the MOD, and they've investigated 19 separate instances of UFOs in the sky. And the most worrying, perhaps, is one that happened over Kent back in 1991. This is an Alitalia jet from Milan heading towards Heathrow, and as it gets over Kent, a brown cigar-shaped tube rushes straight over the top of the cockpit. The pilots shout, "Look out!" They have a very close look at this and report it to the authorities. The MOD investigates. They look into all of the potential things that it could be: weather balloons, missiles, tests of various military equipment, and everything is ruled out. That particular case is unresolved, and it's a big concern. They are taking these things very, very seriously. A lot of the time we think perhaps we're kind of, they cock a snoop at this kind of idea of UFOs, but they do worry about it, they do investigate it, and when they can't resolve it, then perhaps we should all be worried.
Shouldn't we just? Well, they're joined now. Thank you, Richard. We're joined now by the British Fox Mulder, former UFO MOD investigator Nick Pope. Extraordinary, Nick. Was your job advertised in the paper?
No, I'd already been in the Ministry of Defence for some years, so I was just headhunted into that post as my next tour of duty.
So they said, we've got a few UFOs, we'd like you to take a look at, that sort of thing?
Yes, basically, and my job for the next 3 years was to research and investigate these things. I got about 200 or 300 cases a year. I had to see if I could come up with an explanation, and of course in most cases I was able to explain them as misidentifications of fairly ordinary things. But in around 5% of the cases drew a complete blank, and those are the sorts of cases that of course were very interesting.
So you're saying, so of the 200, let's say 10 of those cases a year would be the ones that we could never explain, and certainly left you thinking there's something very odd going on here.
Something very odd, yes. Not necessarily, of course, something extraterrestrial, but nonetheless something that after a proper investigation we couldn't explain. And we were particularly interested, of course, in cases where things were tracked on radar, cases such as the one mentioned in the report there, where we had near misses between UFOs and commercial aircraft. Those were the cases of concern, and with those sorts of air miss cases, of course, whatever you think about UFOs, there were flight safety issues at stake.
Of course. Now look, a lot of people this morning will just be sitting there thinking, gosh, it's a load of old nonsense. It's people doctoring bits of footage. I mean, the woman that phoned up and said she's from the planet Sirius, or from the area of Sirius, wherever that is, and she crashed in a spaceship. I mean, all those sort of things lend it that sort of sense of fantasy.
Yes, it's difficult. I mean, there is a lot of very... today we've got actually tens of thousands of pages of new documents released at the National Archives, and a lot of it is quite colourful stuff, alien abductions, crop circles. But I always say with this, let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. There are some cases there that, certainly to my colleagues and myself at the Ministry, raised serious defence and national security issues.
And we've got some footage of one of the apparent UFOs that was spotted by some people. We can have a quick look. I mean, essentially, that's the sort of thing we're talking about: floating images in the sky, moving around. It just looks like a balloon of some sort.
It's very difficult to tell just from an image, but of course at the Ministry of Defence there were all sorts of pieces of technical equipment and of course technical expertise that we could do a proper analysis.
Did you feel quite cool being involved with the UFO part of the Ministry of Defence?
Yes, it was the best job in the country.
and so do you believe that there's something out there?
I think there's something out there. Whether we're being visited or not, I'm open-minded on that one.
OK, Nick, thanks for coming in and talking to us about it this morning. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and we'd love to see your pictures, videos of UFOs. Text them to 67890. What are you laughing at?
Well, I'm just thinking that someone might have a video kicking about somewhere of a UFO they've seen.
They probably will. And messages cost 50p plus your standard network charge. Or let us know if you've seen a UFO by doing the same thing, 67890. Text costs 25p plus your standard network charge, as I just said, and terms, no, they're not.
No, they're not. In half an hour's time, what has the evil John Stape been up to in Coronation Street? All's going to be revealed tonight, but we're going to give you a sneak preview when we talk to actor Graham Hawley in about half an hour's time.
After the break, though, X Factor and Strictly. If you were out at the weekend and missed them both, we'll take a look back at the weekend's action and news too on who else may be taking a bow from Strictly. See you in a minute.
Actimel's fat-free range has a new flavour. New fat-free peach and mango, with only 29 calories per bottle.
There's up to 5 years credit-free interest. No, it's up to 5 years interest-free credit. And 40% off 25 different bathrooms. There's up to 5 years interest-free credit and 40% off 25 different bathrooms. Up to 5 years interest-free credit. Let's do it. Let's B&Q it. Hollywood, here I come. Is my limo here?
Here come the girls. Sugar Babes, the brand new album, Catfights and Spotlights. Includes the massive hit single, Girls. Sugar Babes, the new album, out now.
The Next Generation Tassimo by Bosch. What's your favourite Tassie moment?
On DVD comes the most eye-popping, groundbreaking, high-flying, right in the beat, adventure of the year. Including a new Ice Age short. Perfect. The hilarious Horton Hears a Who on DVD now.
Sainsbury's Pet Insurance for cats and dogs gives 3 months free when you renew after 12 months. Call 08000 12 16 16 and avoid those painful vet bills.
Bottom is the new top. Squeeze is the new pour. Gel is the new liquid. Drum is the new draw. But above all, cold is the new hot. New Ariel XL Gel. Outstanding cleaning from as low as 15 degrees. Now that's brilliant.
We've a lot to be thankful for. The children have grown up here.
Family make the home happy.
It was just a thing that I came up with. And no one else will have anything else the same as that.
It's always going to be in the family. I love my rocking horse. You wouldn't have it in your house?
It wouldn't really fit in my...
You better make sure it fits in there.
The perfect home is the home that's perfect for you. Love the place you're in. Only on UK TV Style.
Meet Emma. She can be a little rough on things. That's why Fisher-Price created the Kid Tough digital camera, built to survive drop after drop after drop. And now it's even waterproof. The Fisher-Price Kid Tough digital camera, as rough and tumble. Are you being careful? As she is. Only from Fisher-Price.
This is Leon Jackson, featuring the amazing new single, Don't Call This Love.
The winner is Leon.
And the massive #1, When You Believe. Leon Jackson, right now, the stunning debut album, out now.
Without oil, there'd be no cars, no shipping, and no planes. So are we prepared for the day oil runs out?
If we don't act now, in 20 years we could see fuel poverty and agricultural losses on a global scale. Could living without oil become a reality? Fueling the future, this week on GMTV.
Oh. GMTV's Talking Telly. Sponsored by Nouvelle Recycled Kitchen Towel.
Oh, sorry. Richard is here. We were talking about our weekends. Richard's had a very busy weekend,
Very
haven't
busy
you,
weekend.
Richard?
I've got to say congratulations, actually, if I may be so bold and indulge you. My best friends, Vicky and Helder, got married at the weekend, so there you go. Congratulations, guys. Also, congratulations to Heartbeat. 350 episodes. Hey! Happy birthday, Heartbeat, from all of us here at GMTV. How many episodes are we clocking up? Best not to dwell on it. Also, congratulations to Strictly Come Dancing Tom Chambers as well, who married his Claire yesterday in Derbyshire. Look at that, skipping a step as well. He had to postpone the wedding, of course, 24 hours to compete on Saturday night's show. So let's talk about this weekend's telly. Let's talk X Factor. Standard was so much higher this week. I don't know if you agree with me at home. Now that all those first night nerves have dissipated, Cheryl's category, of course, still the strongest with knockout performances from all of her girls. How much do we love Kooky Diane? We're going to have to get her some shoes, but she's fantastic. A bad night for our Louis again, though.